Hey everyone, welcome to episode 348, Enabling Siblings. Welcome to the Harmony in the Home podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Hutchison. I'm a counselor, a life coach, and most importantly, an imperfect mom doing this work right along with you. And my goal on our podcast is to go from chaos to calm, feel less frazzled, and have more fun within your four walls to have more harmony in your home. This title cracks me up because it sounds like I'm talking about my siblings, which I'm obviously not. Jennifer and Molly, if you're listening to me, obviously I'm not talking about you. My parents never did that. But I want you to listen to a TikTok about someone venting about his brother. And it's called Undiagnosed Anthony on TikTok. He's actually hilarious. I'm on TikTok now, which I've been wanting to do for so long. And remember how I always say, I wish I was like, not an expert, but I wish I was passionate about something other than parenting. So I could go on TikTokies because I don't want to talk about parenting because it's not controversial, but I feel like we have some hot takes about parenting and we're doing things a lot differently and we're doing it differently. Sometimes you might be doing it differently than your parents. And I really don't want to get in an argument on TikToky. So I always said I want to do something neutral like scrapbooking. I always use that as an example, but how do you podcast about scrapbooking? And how do you have a TikToky about podcasting? There's a true crime comedian that I follow on YouTube, and she always calls it TikTokies. So I can't stop saying TikTokies now. Her name is Shalene, Shalleen. I think that's her name. She's a comedian, and she's not true crime, but she's doing a lot of YouTubes right now about a true crime person that we've been following, and we cannot believe the stuff that she's doing, the tomfoolery that she's doing. And she talks about like Big Brother and things that are going on in the Housewives. Anyway, I found her and she calls it TikTokies. She also says no offense, all offense. And so I say that to my kids sometimes. I'll be like, no offense, all offense, but like you really need to put your clothes away when you're done with the dryer. Okay, so follow me on TikTok if you want to see some pickleball fun. And if you want to learn about the sport and get out there. And even if you don't want to do pickleball, I just want to get people moving in 2026 because it does something for your emotions, your endorphins, and your happiness. And I just feel so much lighter because I found pickleball. And it sounds crazy, but it's really not about pickleball. It's just about finding a passion. So whether it's picking up a tennis racket or going for the run or picking up your golf clubs and golfing more or riding your bike, whatever brings you joy, whatever scratches that little kid inside of you, that itch, then keep doing that, more of that. And I feel like pickleball is doing that for me. And it's not really about pickleball. It's more about like feeling closer to my dad and scratching my inner athlete, the community. It helps me so much be with my introversion, my introvert skills, like my introvertness. It's helping me be more extroverted. And like, that's how I was as a kid. It's like I had introverted kids and then all of a sudden I became like an introvert, but I was really an extrovert as a kid myself. So I'm kind of going back to my roots, so to speak. Anyway, so follow me on TikTokies. I'm having so much fun. It's Kelly Hutchison 1. And I'm just new to the sport. And there's a lot of hate out there. I will say it's not as neutral as I thought it would be. There's a lot of hate out there. It's not really a sport. Are you even getting a good workout? I can't believe that the people call this activity. This is for old people. I'm like, well, I am kind of old. So you might be right there. And it's so much harder than it appears. I promise on a stack of Bibles, it's so much harder. It's really good for your brain. Like I want to be doing it when I'm like 95 years old. Anyway, so follow me on TikTokies and let me know that you found me from the podcast. So there's so many times I listen to people on TikTokies or on YouTubies or on Facebook or Instagram, and I just want to answer them. I just want to be like, I want to offer them solution. I want to offer them coaching, like, because when I'm listening to people talk, I don't really listen to what they're saying. I listen to what's behind and in between the words, if that makes sense. It's like if you're ever listening to music, like David listens to the music of a song and I listen to the lyrics of a song. Isn't that crazy? And all he focuses on is the music and all I focus on is the lyrics. So I listen to lyrics first, music second. He listens to music first, lyrics. I don't even think he knows the lyrics. I'm not even going to lie. Like I've never heard him like singing a song. Not that he would. He doesn't even sing at church. But he's not like one to sing in the car. But you know what I mean? He doesn't listen to the lyrics. I'm like, what? Are you an alien? Anyway, when I'm listening to someone talk, I don't listen to them talk. I'm listening to like what's behind the words, behind the eyes, behind the pain, behind like the unconscious stuff that's going on. So anyway, I was listening to him and I just wanted to like reach out to him and be like, listen, Linda, this is not about you. This is not about your parents. This is about so much more going on. So I want you to listen to it and then give your opinion in your head of what you would tell him. And then I will give you my opinion of what I would tell him if I could just sit him down and talk to him for 5 minutes over coffee, even though I don't drink coffee. because I think the aftertaste is nasty.
Do you want to know my family drama at the moment? It's pretty juicy. Quick context. I grew up with a very abusive brother. I've spoken about it before. He particularly didn't like me. I don't know, maybe because I'm perfect. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. He had something against me. Anyway, I won't go into details, but physically abusive, verbally abusive, very verbally abusive to my mum. We had to watch that because if we did anything, we would get physically attacked. You know what I mean? Honestly, I don't even hold it against him. Definitely undiagnosed disorders going on there. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's context provided. But the situation is now, I don't want him anywhere around me, and my other brother doesn't want him anywhere around him. Some of my other siblings don't want him anywhere around their kids, yada, yada, yada. Now, for more context, it got to a point where I'd called the police on him multiple times to try and get him removed when we all lived at home with my parents because he was so violent. And one time I was successful in getting restraining orders from a couple of us against him because he was so violent. Now, for some reason, my parents have this weird ideal where they want to reintegrate him back into the family. No one wants that. Do you know what I mean? Literally none of us want it. I don't even think he wants it. Anyway, last night my parents come and tell me and my other brother, the one that particularly doesn't like him, that they are now going to let him come to the beach house whenever he wants. I know it sounds privileged and entitled, but let me give you backstory again. My family have a beach house. My parents have a beach house. And one of the things that was kind of taken away from him was being able to go to the beach house because no one feels safe with him around, right? There were a few other things, like even being able to go to our family home. He wasn't allowed while we were there. Now he comes whenever he wants. I still live at the family home. He comes whenever he wants. So the reason why I tell you these things is because he consistently demands things from my parents because he thinks he didn't do anything wrong. He thinks he was never abusive. He watches these videos. Hey, how you going? And for some reason, my parents continually push back on my boundaries and on my other siblings' boundaries in order to, I guess, value his requests or appease his requests because he's psycho. He thinks he is entitled to the access to the same things we have. He's not. He's abusive and violent. Anyway, so the family drama is last night my mum and my dad told us that they're now going to let him go to the beach house. Again, I know, really privileged. But me and my brother, look, there was no argument. I didn't sit there angrily, aggressively, but I was like, do you see how you are consistently catering to his demands? And by doing that, you are disrespecting my safety? You know what I mean? Not even my demands. Also, another backstory, one of the other reasons he was banned from going to the beach house is because I used to go out with my friends and I used to consistently find illicit substances scattered across the table. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't really a good place for him to be when we have young kids in the family that go up to that beach house. Because having illicit substances lying around is probably not the best thing, right? Look, obviously there's so much more context to this situation. There's so many more stories I can tell. If you want more, let me know. But that's the family drama at the moment. Apparently he's going to be allowed at the beach house. So I don't think I'm going to go to the beach house anytime soon.
Okay, what I want to say to Anthony so badly is I want to say, this has nothing to do with your brother. You ever heard that saying, the squeaky wheel gets the oil? And we always say that. We always hear that. So if you have parents that are giving differential treatment to your siblings, or they might be giving it to you, the reason behind that is not because, well, it is because they need more help and they need more assistance and they need more oomph. But the real reason is because your parents, if this is happening in your family, and I'm talking to Anthony now, your parents need to feel their ego, their fear. They have inner fears. They have inner child within them. They do not want to mess this up. Just like I was parenting from a fear-based place, and all I kept telling myself when I was holding my little toddler and they're screaming her head off and they're screaming their heads off, I said, you cannot mess this up. You cannot mess this up. You cannot mess this up. I was unconsciously telling myself over and over and over. So I was parenting from such a fear-based place. Ironically, that's where I was messing it up. So what happens is your parents, Anthony, and if this is happening in your family dynamics, your family of origin, and you might do that when your kids are older. Just be aware of it. Awareness is everything. Is this happening to you or this happening to you, Anthony? The reason why they're doing this is because they need to feel like they have succeeded as a parent. Not so much to the barbecue people or the people at the golf club or the tennis club. That is secondary, but they need to know that they have succeeded. So what they do is they keep throwing good money after bad, so to speak, because they want to feel like they've done a good job. So they're putting Band-Aids after Band-Aids, whether it's money, whether it's the beach house, whether it's time, whether it's overly babysitting for the grandkids and not babysitting for your kids. That differential treatment is because I don't want to say worry, but that child is like their ingrown toenail and they need to fix it and solve it, not because they're trying to help the child. They're really trying to help their own ego. They're trying to help their own sense of not being good enough, their own inner fears, their own dynamics. It doesn't make it right. It just helps you understand it a little bit more, that it really has nothing to do with the said child who's getting all the attention. Because a lot of times we see that happening, like undiagnosed Anthony might be like, well, how come all my kids aren't getting the babysitting? Or how come I'm not getting the money? Or how come I'm not getting the free boat? Anthony doesn't even want the boat. I'm just using the boat as an example. Or he doesn't want the beach house. Anthony doesn't want the beach house. He doesn't want unfettered access to the beach house. He just wants it to be fair and equitable, which we all do. But the reason why it's not happening has nothing to do with Anthony. It has to do with the parents feeding their ego to feel good enough as a parent. And if their children are succeeding at life, so to speak, whatever you call succeeding, then they can feel like they did a good job and that they can get that A on the report card, so to speak. But until they get that A, they will keep enabling, keep giving them money, keep overly babysitting, keep giving them the beach house, whatever it is, however it shows up. And it has nothing to do with you as Anthony, that your worthiness and your value is not good enough. And if you were just only do X, Y, Z, then you would get more of the attention. It's not really about favoritism. It's really about favoring their own egos and that they feel like they're good enough and they've done a good job as a parent. So they're constantly running after this unattainable achievement. And you'll see that over and over and over in so many family dynamics. And when you realize it has nothing to do with you, it has nothing to do with the said child or said grown-up who's acting like a child, taking advantage of said parents, it has to do with the parents, the reason why they're doing it. And then it doesn't sting as much. It doesn't make it okay. I don't want to justify this and say, oh, well, they're just doing it because of this. And so it's all okay. I like the way that Anthony's putting up boundaries and he's, boundaries are very easy to do. They're hard to enforce. Just like it's very easy to declare a family rule in your house, but it's very hard to enforce the rule, so to speak. I was driving through a school zone the other day. I was driving through an actual school, elementary school, and I saw these signs up. It says, no cell phones, no cell phones, no cell phones. There was 15 signs of them. And I was like, who's enforcing that? Who is going? It was for the people in the car line. I wasn't picking up anybody. Obviously, my kids are teenagers, but I was like, who's enforcing that? The signs are only as good as the signs if someone's enforcing it. So the same thing works with your boundaries. If you're making a boundary with someone or your parents, and you see that and like Anthony is, the boundary is easy to make. Holding it and making people upset and disappointing people is hard. But it's also okay because you've been disappointed before and you've survived. And whoever you're disappointing, guess what? They're going to be okay and they're going to survive because it's okay to disappoint people. You will disappoint people and other people will disappoint you. And we all will live to tell about it. And we're not so afraid of disappointing people, then we're not so afraid of disappointing people. I know that sounds redundant, but it's really, really true. When I met David, he had a saying on his AOL, we were doing Instagram, and his AOL said, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. It sounds like what I was just saying just now, but it's really true. And so when you don't care about disappointing people, then you don't care about disappointing people. And then you can live your life and you are okay with other people disappointing you because it happens every day. So instead of just going through life hoping not to disappoint people, just expect it. I'm going to disappoint people and people are going to disappoint me. And guess what? That's part of the human experience. And when you can do that in your four walls and outside your four walls, you're going to have much more harmony in the home for everybody involved. I love you guys and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Hey mamas, thanks for listening. If you had any ahas, clicks, or those lightning bolt moments while listening, you have to check out my free parenting bootcamp, where we take all of this to the next level and we try to create even more awakenings for ourselves so that we can connect more with our kids and never yell at them again. You can sign up at www.coachingkelly.com. And if you really want to fill up my love cup, send me an email of what your aha was, what your click was, what was that lightning bolt moment while you were listening. I want nothing more in life than for you to have harmony in your home and to learn how to be an imperfect mom like me, which allows your kids to be imperfect too, each and every day. Thanks for listening.